Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host, Tom Downey. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. We'll start things off today. We'll get to our rumors here in a second, but we do have some updates for you guys on David Irving. We do at least now know why he has been absent from practices recently. It is related to custody issues with his daughter. Now, if you go way back to when this whole thing began, David Irving did get custody of his daughter, Zoe. Now Angela Sanchez, his on-again, off-again girlfriend with whom he's had several issues with, now has custody of the daughter. Sanchez served Irving with a temporary restraining order, and now Sanchez ended up getting custody as well. This, of course, also happened in the past week and a half or so. The good news is, at least for Irving, is that he is now back with the team today, and the hope is that he's going to be able to play on Sunday. Now, there's still a whole lot of other stuff going on here right now with David Irving. When the restraining order was served to him, I guess he didn't handle it very well, and he's facing what Dallas police call offensive touching. It's a Class C misdemeanor assault charge. It's really not the biggest deal, but it is a misdemeanor assault charge. The max punishment is a $500 fine. So there's nothing overly concerning there, but all in all, again, there's always something going on with David Irving. So he's back with the team today. The hope is he's able to play on Sunday, and if he does play, the expectation is that he has a limited role on passing downs. And again, I was not very, praiseworthy of David Irving on our last show, but as I've said before, including Tuesday, and as I've said before multiple times on this show, you gotta feel bad for David Irving, the person. It sucks what he's going through. He's dealt with a lot of crap this offseason. But at the same time, he does have a job to do. The Cowboys need him out there, and he hasn't been very, present. He's practiced like one time, I guess two now today, since last year. So at a certain point, despite his talent, despite the fact that you do feel for him as a person, it's just the patience has got to be wearing thin. It's worn thin for me. I like David Irving, the talent, but I think the Cowboys feel the exact same way. Very actually trust David Irving, the player. So I think at the end of the year, you say, David, thank you so much. Best of luck in the future, but we're going to part ways and go a different direction. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. All right, folks. Thursday Night Football coming up tonight. I have my NFL pick'em going on with BetDSI. DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney if you guys want the link. It's also linked at my pinned tweet right now on my Twitter profile. Sign up is free, no deposit required. Just go to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Cowboys120 when you do it. That way, in case you do sign up, you get their fantastic deal. Then DM me on Twitter that you want in. I'll send you the link and make your picks, all right? See if you can beat me. If you come in first place, the winner gets $25. Let's see what you guys got, all right? Some of you guys think you know more than me on football, i.e. the Kellen Moore Tony Romo debate, because Romo doesn't make sense right now. Anyway, DM me on Twitter if you guys want in. All right, some Cowboys rumors. This one pops up every single time the Cowboys coaching search is a possibility, and I'm going to give it fake news. I don't see Bob Stoops coming to the Dallas Cowboys. And every time it happened when Garrett got hired, happened when Wade Phillips got hired, every time it's, well, what about Bob Stoops? It doesn't make sense. I think that Bob Stoops is legitimately retired. He says he doesn't plan to return to coaching. Look, it's not the worst option. I wouldn't be upset if they did hire Bob Stoops. That's not what I'm saying. I think I prefer the Cowboys to go young. And if you gave me the option, say, of Bob Stoops or Lincoln Riley, I think I'd actually go with Riley, go with the young offensive mind. That's kind of my preferred option there. So I don't hate the idea of Bob Stoops. I just don't think it's going to happen. Also not happening, I have to keep reminding you guys, these 5 guys are not going to be your head coach. I've seen each one mentioned in the comment section within the last week. Romo, Aikman, Johnson, Parcells, Cowher, they don't make sense as a head coach. All right? Romo, Aikman don't have any experience in that area. Jimmy's been retired for the entire century. He has not come back since he left the Dolphins. It doesn't make sense. Parcells is retired. Cowher is also retired. Now, with that in mind, I know a lot of you guys want Jason Garrett fired, and I'm very much on board with you guys there. So let me know who you guys want as the next Cowboys head coach. Got a lot of options out there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. All right, next up, will there not be any big trades for the Dallas Cowboys? I know a lot of you guys won't like this, but that's kind of what it seems like. I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to go ahead and give this one 3 stars. It just doesn't seem likely. Now, I guess I'll never say never, and maybe something crazy could end up happening, but I'm just going to give it the 3. It's really 3.5 right now. I would be stunned if a trade went down, much like the Dallas Morning News in their recent report. One big reason. Why trade away draft picks for a player when you're probably not going to make the playoffs? And if you're looking for a big splashy trade, you're going to give a second or third round pick. That's probably going to be a top 75 pick. I'll go ahead and keep my pick and focus a little bit more maybe on the future, even though Trader Jerry does still make some calls there. I don't see a big trade coming. All right, next up, are the Cowboys still in the mix for the NFC East? As bad as this year has been, actually, yeah. Now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East, but the entire division as a whole is struggling right now. Their odds via BetDSI are plus 250. That's actually second best among the NFC East teams. And the Redskins, thanks to their bye, are technically in first place in the NFC, but who here believes in the Washington Redskins? I didn't think so. Eagles, I think, are still the favorites. But they're down to plus 100 for most of the offseason, and even up until now, they were the odds-on favorite, around minus 300, even higher than that. So that's a notable change there. The Cowboys, as bad as it's been, they are still kind of in the mix, and that's also why you're going to see, I think, the coaching staff tend to stay in place longer because they're only a half game out of the division lead, which is weird to say given how poorly they've played this season. But if you guys want to place a bet on the Cowboys or a different team, head to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 when you sign up and deposit. They'll give you a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is you put down $100, they'll give you 120 for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. You're playing with house money if you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120. All right, on to Allen Hurns, who has made waves the past couple of weeks as he kind of rips the Cowboys' play calling. And what he said is right, but I think it's kind of taken a little bit over the top. Yes, he ripped it. I'll give it 3 stars here, not the full-on 4, because Hurns wasn't completely negative, and I want to make that clear. That's why it's only the 3 stars there. He also pointed out, correctly so, it goes well sometimes. And he mentioned that he wants more targets, as every receiver in the history of ever does. But Hurns was right to be critical of some of the Cowboys' play calls, because you and I all see it. It hasn't been very good. The play calling has been bad. The scheme has been bad. And with that in mind, it's not just one thing, though. Are there multiple offensive problems? I'm actually giving this one 4 stars, and it's something that Hurns has said before, and it's something I will continue to try to remind everyone else, because sometimes I think in the way we operate today, we want it to just be one thing. Everything is black and white. This is the most ultimate gray area thing in existence right now. It is not just Dak Prescott. It is not just Jason Garrett. It is not just Scott Linehan. It's not just Dak, the receiver. It's not just the offensive line. It's everything right now. There is very little that you can point to right now and say, you know what? This actually is going right. Like, we're doing a good job here. Maybe Zeke, even though last week he wasn't as good. There are so many things wrong right now with the Cowboys' offensive system. You can't just say, oh yeah, if we fix this thing, we're going to be fine. There's too much going on right now. Now, with that in mind, you do have to blame somebody the most, right? I put the blame on the coaching staff. In the end, that's where the buck stops, right? Stops with Garrett, stops with Scott. That's why I'm all aboard for firing Scott Linehan and making Garrett call the plays the rest of the year, see if he can't save his job. In the end, if you're the Cowboys, you got to find a way to get something else going because it's not working. It's time for changes, be it coaching staff, personnel. Those are kind of your options right now. All right, folks, if you want your own awesome Mizzen and Main shirt, go get one at comfortable.af. And trust me, folks, these shirts are indeed comfortable as F. You will not find a more comfortable shirt in existence than a Mizzen and Main shirt. All right, next up, one more rumor here for you guys. Did the Cowboys make a mistake in not drafting Calvin Ridley? I do want to spend some time on this one as well because I've seen this mentioned multiple times. I saw it on NFL Network, I think it was this morning, yesterday morning. The days kind of all run together for me at this point. I've seen other articles about it, but I'm only giving it the 1 star. Yes, Calvin Ridley has been fantastic this year. He has been one of the best receivers in the NFL, frankly, at least in terms of touchdowns and production. But I don't know if not drafting Ridley was a mistake. And yes, he's playing great. And Gallup is not helping enough. And yeah, the Cowboys could have taken Calvin in round 1, and he'd probably help out your offense. But that actually feels kind of insulting to Leighton Vander Esch. Because Vander Esch has been fantastic so far this year. And if it wasn't for Vander Esch, well then, what are you doing on offense? Or on defense. Like, Sean Lee's out. You're playing Damian Wilson, Joe Thomas is hurt. Like, I don't think that makes enough sense for the Cowboys there. So you have to do it in this way. If you draft Ridley, yes, you miss out on Leighton Vander Esch. Yes, you, of course, would not take Michael Gallup. So then what linebacker do you take in round 3? Are you taking Oren Burks? Are you Fred Warner's with what I like him, but he wasn't there. Are you taking Josie Jewell? I don't think this was a mistake. There are some arguments that would help the offense, but in the end, I don't think the Cowboys are a Calvin Ridley away from being an elite receiver or an elite offense, or even that much better of an offense. I saw one article that claimed that Ridley would have just as much success because Tavon Austin and Cole Beasley and Allen Hurns would draw the attention away. A big reason why Ridley's been so good is because he has Julio Jones and Mo Sanu and Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Ridley is a great player. I'm not knocking him at all. But if you think that Calvin Ridley, with what he's done with the Falcons, would do the exact same thing with this Cowboys team right now, absolutely not. That he wouldn't have had much success. He'd go from being a secondary option that never gets double-teamed to always being double-teamed because no one else on the Cowboys offense is worth any type of fear. So I still would go with Leighton Vander Esch. I don't want to knock Calvin Ridley, but look how good he's been. You can get a receiver later. I'm glad the Cowboys had LVE. I think in the end, LVE and Gallup is going to be greater than, let's say, Calvin Ridley and Josie Jewell or Oren Banks. I think the Cowboys made the right pick there, taking LVE. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for our next Cowboys Report.